Verse number 44. Urdhajihvam sthirikritya somapanam karoti yah masardhena na sandheh mrityam jayati yogavite baddhamulam vilam yena tena vigno vidaritah ajara maramapnoti yatha panchamukho harah. So this point to be understood very carefully now, as we try to look at that how especially panchamukha harah yatha panchamukha harah Vignah Vidarati. So here is Vidaritam, just I am putting it. Generally, when we have certain difficulties, where we cannot handle any situation, so generally what we do, so we go to Lord Shiva and different form of Lord Shiva. For example, as you know, for every problem there is solution with Lord Shiva. Especially when you are interested in knowledge, so same Lord Shiva becomes different. Now when becomes Dakshinamurti and Lord Shiva becomes Vaidyanatha. So Vaidyanatha means becomes doctor when there is disease. In fact, some people have problem with the word Natha. So I was told, so one Swami, Jagannatha is Lord Vishnu. So that person follows, this order of Ramanuja Sampradayam. So they don't call Jagannatha. So they call Jagannatha as Janardana. What a fanaticism. Anyway, let us not get into. So for anything and everything, Lord Shiva takes care of everything. And here he says that we have this Panchamukha Shiva Hara iti. So Hara Sabda means the other name of Lord Shiva. Also Hari Vishnu. Hara means Hru Dhatu, the root Hru it comes. Hru means to remove. Haratiti. So that he who removes, what does the person removes? What does that entity removes? Papamiti. So papani haranti. That's why the place that is called Haradwara, later on they said Haridwara. So Haradwara means gateway to go to Hara means Kedarnath. And also to go to Kailas, this was the gateway. So then they converted to Haridwara because they said gateway to Vadrinarayana, Lord Vishnu. And this Panchamukha, 5 faces, called one is up, one is east, north, south and west. If you start Googling, you will be able to find out. So there are very popular 2 aspects of Panchamukha. So one is very popular called Panchamukha Hanuman. So Panchamukha Hanuman, also Hanuman becomes the avatar, the incarnation of Lord Shiva, Ansa small portion of Lord Shiva. That's why we say also, if there is nothing working in you or with you, so you can go to Panchamukha Hanuman. We say Panchamukhi Hanuman, Panchamukham Hanuman, the Hanuman that is having 5 faces, the statue. Or you can have that statue and you can do the worship. Or go to a temple, especially where there is prana pratishtha. It's amazingly it works. I have seen in many occasions with many people. In fact, when we say nothing is working, whatever you do, everything breaks down. You are not able to do anything. Everything stops. So don't worry. Do Panchamukhi Hanuman, especially go there and do Hanuman Chalisa. You do few things, you will see the difference. So here he says, look, in the front facing, called Ishana Devata. Then East Tatpurusha. Then North becomes Vamadeva, South Aghori, and West Sadyojata. And each aspect of this face has its own implication and benefit. Especially Rudra Yamala Yantra talks in details this about Pancha Mukha Hara. And of course, in Shiva Tantra and other tantric texts too, talk about that how this works in life, especially for each face related to one chakra. For example, I would like to say, when we think of Ishana, that which is above, up, on the top it will be there. So this Ishana is connected to Brahmarandra. So we have a lot of things to visualize, but let us not get into too much because it becomes only information for you, nothing you are going to get. In fact, you will get more and more confused. So yatha, as or like, just as, any obstacle that is being shattered, destroyed, removed, thrown away, taken away, resolved by Lord Shiva. And that to here, 5-faced Shiva. So also, a yogi by whom Baddham Mulavilam, this is the most important thing, okay? So example, don't stretch. You know, we said if you have not seen the tiger, see the cat, okay? Now you want to give explanation or cat for 1 hour. So like that we are doing it. What can I do? I have such a great audience, okay? So that's why I am doing it. How? Here he says that Baddham Mulavilam Ena, by whom Mulavilam, Muladhara is Baddham, is sealed. So that means what? The one who does what? Mula Bandha iti. Doesn't allow the prana to drag, you can say, doesn't allow the apana to drag a prana technically. So now he says that person, of course, along with the Kaki Mudra, along with Nava Mudra, other things are there, we have discussed. Now what happens that person, he says, look, for that person also, by these bandhas, now tena vigna vidarita, all sort of obstacles will be shattered, will be destroyed. And interestingly, the person will be ajaram and amaram, will be gaining, achieving, or will become ajaram, free from aging and free from death. Now, please let us read next. Sampidya rasanagrena rajadanta vilam mahata ध्यात्वा मृतमयी देवीं षण्मासेन कविर्भवेत्. Now he goes to this. What is the benefit the person is going to get? Sampidya rasana agrena rajadantam vilam mahat. So that means a person, what does he do? Yogi, sampidya. So need to praise. So what is to be praised? That rasana agrena rajadanta vilam. So rajadanta means, it's a very nice point, okay? So we have a beautiful saying, do you know? That elephant has got two types of teeth. So the external is to show off. Of course, once in a while uses, okay, to protect and do all these things, okay? And internal was to chew. So we use this expression especially in India for politicians. So how the elephant has got two types of teeth, so also politicians also have got double character. So during election time, now here going on, you should see how many namaskarams you get every day. And here they come and touch the feet. Amazing, okay? And the day election is over, don't ask. You have to go and not only touch their feet, you have to lie down there, okay, to get something done. However, so here, Rajadanta means, Danta means teeth. That Raja means royal teeth, actually. So royal teeth. What is royal teeth? That is in the forefront. So this Rajadanta, the tip of tongue now presses the Rajadanta little above. And of course, technically, so in the beginning it touches there. In fact, we have a saying that if you feel ashuddhim, I am sorry to bring this very technical point. I remember one sadhu. He was a really great person, because in my teenage time I had a very good exposure. Like, no, as usual I was moving here and there as a confused person, confused teenager I would rather say. And if anybody says that any sadhu is there, any sadhaka is there, any siddha is there, I used to go crazy. In fact, from that person I had learned something which was very helpful for me, that the bhiksha vritti, in the sense that you don't have to ask for food. You can visualize where you will get food. So really nice person, trick. So a lot of things, it was really very helpful for me in later on stage. So he had taught me another point. This is the, now I am getting this context here. That as we have habit, if your hand becomes impure, so what we do? We touch with the right ear, correct? So why do we touch in the right ear? Because the right ear lobe is the place of Brahmopadesha. You have received mantra through the right ear. So that's why right ear is holy. And we say on right ear Ganga resides. Because Brahmopadesha was being given, mantra was being given, Guru mantra was given. So anytime we feel that hand is not, so we just touch. As this happens, So also when internally, when you feel your tongue is polluted, talk something bad to somebody, something or other. So what we say, now you need to touch the tip of the tongue on the upper palate, just above the Rajadanta. And why it is being said, this is the point, like many of you do that, like technically or mechanically, instead of technically, mechanically, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, you understand, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, without knowing why and how. But the truth is, because you have received Brahmopadesha in the right ear, that's why you are touching it. So also here this is being taught that you are supposed to touch the upper portion of the Rajadantam, the royal tooth. For what purpose? Because you have tasted the nectar. In fact, the sadhu, he taught me this particular point over there, and I was going crazy those days. Now when I see the text, it becomes very familiar to me because I had done all these things in those days without knowing the text. However, so he says, Rajadanta vilam mata dhyatva amrutamayim devi. Many people wants to write, wants to achieve many things. This is not necessarily. Don't go crazy. There are very shortcut ways. And he gives this thing. Once you do this, especially with this Khechari Mudra, in a very advanced stage, and there what you need to do, you need to do meditation on Devim, that is Amrutamayim. Amrutamayim means Bhakyamayim. Means the goddess of speech. Saraswati ityartha. So you need to meditate upon goddess Saraswati. And once you start meditating upon that, you will discover, he says, Shadmasena Kavir Bhavetiti. So within 6 months, or for if you do meditation for 6 months, the person will become Kavi. So Kavi means, general translation is called poet. Means writing a prose and writing a poem, there is big difference, as you know. However, we say Kavi, other meaning is called Kranta Drashinaha, the one who has a vision, a visionary. Sage ityartha. All the sages are called Kavi. Because by the grace of Mother Saraswati, the presiding deity of what? The speech, you will have that sort of ability to see far ahead of situation or your life. That's why always I say, visualize yourself 20 years ahead of your life. If you ask me personally, I always work 20 years ahead of my life, not now, from my teenager time itself. Sometimes I become very, stubborn, restless, because when I am working or thinking 20 years ahead of, and I discover people are 20 years behind. If they are in the same way, I can understand, okay? Then I go crazy. So I cannot tolerate this 40 years gap, okay? So however, you can do it. That's why start learning to think ahead of time. Always present yourself to start with at least 10 years of ahead of your time. What would be in 2035? That should be the approach. Continuing. Sarvadvarani vadhnati tadurdham dharitam mahat samunchatyamruta kopi sapantha panchadharana. He says, look, the Mahat, the great person, the yogi, sarvadvarani badhnati. So make sure now closes, binds all the bodily gateway, means all indriyani ityartha, all sense organs. Then what he does? After that, dharitam tat urdhvam. Now, after doing this thing, now sustains, dharitam sustains the prana upward. Now, once this is being done, he says, look, this process is called panchadharana, sapantha. That path, that this process is called panchadharana. And he says, because of this, na kaha api na munchati amrutam iti. Even if nobody, no one, those who practice, does not allow the amrutam to fall down. Whoever practices this, means by practicing this thing, amrita will never fall down. So this pancha dharana, actually I was looking at different texts regarding this, because especially when you look at this pancha dharana, I have tried to put it in the text, especially that there is a text called Viveka Martanda. So this text actually talks in details that you need to dwell upon, because introducing dharana also through this means you need to dwell upon for a length of time all these 5 points, and in different ways. And from there, actually from here comes all this, chakra and vijay mantra, color, all these funny things, concept, okay? Not just visualizing, but you are supposed to dwell upon at least minimum 2 to 3 hours. So here they say, in that particular place is being said, this panchadharana, the 5-fold retention part. So in anahata chakra, so visualize earth, because your anahata chakra keeps pumping, you understand, all the time. All emotions are located over there. So there you need to visualize earth. That's why bija mantra, color, all these things, they format it, paint it, but I am not getting into that mode at all. So when you visualize the earth aspect, then you will discover that the stability of earth will be observed, and heart, anahata chakra will observe that. And in Vishuddha chakra, water. So Jala Tattvam takes care of getting accommodated, getting adjusted anywhere and everywhere. Because when you cannot adjust something, when you cannot digest something, the issue starts here. So there comes Jala Tattva. Then comes Shushiram, means the palatal, upper palatal, Nasanta. So there we try to bring fire so that it will uplift you, because that becomes the source of Amritam, comes from there. Then in Agya Chakra, we visualize Vayu Tattva, the air, so that you can expand yourself. That's why if you observe, when we do this Pratika Upasana, Shiva Samhita, I don't know how many of you remember that once upon a time we took Shiva Samhita, okay? And there comes air, and in Sahasrara comes the space, that which transforms. So when a person says carefully that does practice of binding or closing all the gates, now starts bringing each tattvam, starting from Prithvi Tattva, Jala Tattva, then comes Agni Tattva, Vayu Tattva, and Akasa Tattva. Through this, the person is able to stabilize such a way, and of course along with this the person is enjoying the Navamudra, the Khechari Mudra, and will start drinking that nectar. And we'll see the next verse, how the nectar and sometimes the taste will differ and what are the benefits will come.